everyone. Welcome back, and thank you for tuning in again to another episode of I Do Affirm Affirmation Conversation. Today, we are going to talk about the affirmation, I am fierce. And who better than I know to talk about that than Miss Jennifer Garrett. How are you today, Jennifer?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm so glad to be here with you.
Oh, I'm so happy that you actually could take time out of your super duper busy schedule to be here with me. I know it took time for me to get you down, but I'm glad that I did. You're like one of my last interviews, but you are so worth it. I would have waited forever for you. Trust me.
Oh, well, thank you. And it's an honor to be a part of this. So I'm really excited to be here with you.
Oh, well, thanks. Well, let me introduce you just a little bit. So, Jennifer, you guys, she is a little bit of everything, by the way. She is, first of all, she is an attorney in the United States Army National Guard. So, a soldier, an officer, and an attorney, and a mom with 4 children, correct?
5.
5. Oh, 5. Did the new one just pop up or no?
She's 5, so she's newer.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, well, that's what. Okay, yeah, 2018. So you had just had her around that the last time that I saw you then, and you didn't look like you had a baby. Wow, that's phenomenal. 5 children, that's phenomenal. Well, congratulations on that, because that was like my lucky number of kids that I wanted to have, but I don't have 5 kids, but I wish I did. I'll borrow yours sometimes when you want to go out or something.
Sounds good. Yes, anytime.
That's really cool. She also is a business and branding expert and works with professional athletes, which is super amazing. So if you ever follow any of her social medias, which I will definitely be putting the information here, you will see a lot of people that you know, both from the past and like the new people, even a lot of college athletes. She works with them. Tell me a little bit about that before I go on, because it is so amazing, especially when I see little old you next to some really tall people. Yeah. It's really cute.
Thank you. Yeah. So I'm only 5'2", so I am a littler person. But I get to work with pro athletes, as well as I work with a lot of corporations and corporate executives on just crafting your brand and how do you leverage that brand to attract the opportunities that you want. So from a pro athlete standpoint, whether it's speaking opportunities or business partnerships, how do you really establish your brand to be in the area that you want? When it comes to corporate professionals, how do you position we all have a brand, so we all should be managing that brand. How do you position yourself to attract the career opportunities that you're looking for as you're looking to navigate throughout your career?
That's really awesome. Actually, I see you around sports so much that I really didn't know that it was really about branding. So I'm going to have to talk to you about that, because I put my little cup up here to the
Yes, got a brand. Always got a brand.
Oh, that's phenomenal. So on top of all that, which is such a lot for Jennifer, she is a superwoman. And like I said, I brought her here to talk about the affirmation fierce because she is fierce. Jennifer is also an author, you guys. Okay. So she authored her love of sports. She authored this book here called Move the Ball. And I really, really love this book. I actually got this book from her and she signed it for me. I don't even know if you remember this. Back in 2008. Do you remember signing it?
Yep, 2018. Yep.
18, not 8, girl. I said 8. And you gave it a good old Roll Tide.
Yeah.
We are both Alabama Crimson Tide fans, which is probably why we just had like organic chemistry and a connection to one another. So I really love this book, Jennifer. I've looked through it so many times. I love how you teach it in steps. You teach it rules. There's lessons. There's so many quotes. I mean, I love that. Honestly, you can give this book to a 10-year-old and they could really learn a lot of lessons. You can give this book to an 80-year-old and they could learn a lot of lessons. I just love the way that you wrote it so practically, and the fact that you broke it down into a whole lot of chapters, which makes it very easy. There's so many like sports references in here, so it makes it really fun. Any sports fan could read it. I mean, you did a phenomenal job. So talk to us about your Move the Ball movement, because you're everywhere. Like, when do you sleep?
I do sleep. First of all, I do sleep because I think sleep is very important. So don't forget, don't skip on your sleep. It's really important to make sure you're taking that time out and, rejuvenating and resting. And so that way you can continue to be at your best. But the movement is really all about forward motion. It doesn't, we're all busy. We all have things that we're juggling. And sometimes that can be overwhelming. And so it's easy to get frustrated and caught caught up in the lack of progress that we're making. And so what the movement is about forward is forward. It doesn't matter how fast or how slow you go each day. Just do something to make sure you're moving. And when you do that, they talk about the small wins. Like if you did 5 small wins every single day, that adds up to 1,825 wins a year. And so it's not always about the big monumental plays. Like everybody wants to do those big things, and those are great. But really, if you just are consistent and you do little things every single day, you're going to get to where you want to go. It might not be as fast depending on what else you have going on in your life, but it will happen. It's just a matter of keeping, just continue to move forward, move that ball an inch, a yard, a foot, whatever, every single day. And honestly, when I wrote the book, Move the Ball, I just thought that it was going to be a book about football. And I didn't know that it would evolve into this movement, really about, just moving forward. And so it's been great to just see the evolution. And we should always be looking at how we evolve with ourselves, our brands, our businesses, whatever. And so it's just been a really cool experience.
Wow. I'm really proud of you for that. I mean, it's just really amazing. You did a really, really great job. I just love and I know you're going to write more books, right?
I am. Yes, I just actually finished writing another one. It's all about how I don't have a title yet, but it's all about how you show up to life. And so, and I know we'll talk about like what you're saying or your motto is. So I won't say that yet, but it's really about going, and that's what being fierce is. It's going after whatever it is that you want that's important to you. And when I look at that word, it's about, being relentless, being bold, being daring, and just having that courage to move forward. So this next book is all about that. I don't think I use the word fierce in it, but it's really about just showing up every single day, going after the things that you want. And so it will come out this fall. I don't know exactly when yet. I'm actually meeting with the publisher next week to discuss that, but fall 2022 is when it's going to come out.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. I'm super happy for you. That's awesome. You go, girl.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're always moving the ball.
Yes. And writing a book is a lot of work. So it's neat to see that we're, the heavy lifting is done. There's still the editing and stuff that you have to go through, but yeah, it's fun to feel, like I've accomplished this big thing, and it'll be neat to see it come out here in a few more months.
Oh, well, one thing I noticed about you, following you on social media, of course, is that you always seem to fit into any room that you're in, no matter if the people are, male, different, demographics, way taller than your 5'2" self, no matter if the football field is 100 yards and you're just this little person standing on it. I mean, you just exude so much confidence. And that's why I thought that you would fit in right here. So when in your life did you realize that you were a fierce person? Like, how did you just recognize that about yourself?
Well, if you ask my mom, she'll say I've always been a stubborn person. And so I think that's part of it is, if you're stubborn, you're like, I'm going to do what I want to do, and figure out how to do it. But when it comes to like really being fierce, I would say, especially with the Move the Ball movement, I think when I left my corporate job, and I've always been like a motivated, go-getting type of a person, but when I left to be an entrepreneur, which was about 2.5 years ago, a little bit more than that, it was really about, okay, like it all rides on you. If you don't do what you need to, you're not going to get a paycheck, right? And so it's very different than being in the corporate setting. And so it was about, okay, we're going to take really bold steps. I think I already had that confidence, but it was like, let's take that to another level and really put yourself out there because it all rides on you.
Oh, that's really awesome. So not everybody is as ferocious as you and is as confident and, just inspired and empowered. What advice would you give to someone who was struggling in that area?
I would first say, if you are unsure of what's important to you, like spend some time and get that clarity, because that's so important, is to understand where do you really want to go. And I'm a firm believer that it doesn't matter what your past has been. It's all about what do you want to do moving forward. So let go of all that negativity, all those things that might have been weighing you down because you're, feeling bad or frustrated because you haven't seen the things that you want in life, and just figure out, clean break starting today. Today's day one. Remember that you deserve to live the life that you want. A lot of people don't feel like they deserve that. They feel like they have to settle for whatever life comes their way. And it's really about just remember that you deserve to be here. And, I have a podcast, as you know, it's also called Move the Ball. And I recently did an interview. It hasn't come out yet, but it was with a guy who plays for the Arizona Cardinals. He is a defensive back. He played at Alabama, Roll Tide. And he's training. I was in New Orleans and Baton Rouge recently, and he's training down there in the off season. And with the guy named Ryan Clark, who was a defensive back in the league for many, many years, most notably with the Steelers. And I asked him, I said, what is the most important thing that Ryan, or best piece of advice that Ryan has given you? And he's like, he says, in life, there are no do-overs. And so you can't just, you've got one life. It's basically, you've got one life to live, right? So go after what it is that you want. And I think when you realize like that you deserve to have the life you want, it's easy for you to put yourself out there, have that confidence to go after whatever it is. And so no matter who you are, my advice is you are enough, you deserve it. And so just every day, make sure that you are showing up and moving the ball, right? Just a little bit every single day and figuring out what you need to do. And the results will come when you do that.
Oh, that's awesome. You're inspiring and empowering me right now, Jennifer. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll ask you just like a little random, question. So since I know that you meet with people and you interview a lot of people and you just get to be around just some amazing people that most of us would only, be able to see from like section 426, who are like just maybe some of your maybe top 3 people that you've just really enjoyed the opportunity of just being like right there, their arm on your shoulder.
That's a great question. Since I'm from Chicago, the one that I have to say is the most meaningful for me was Mike Ditka, given that he had such a huge role, in Chicago Bears football and obviously winning the Super Bowl. So I'd say that was the first, that one's really high up on my list. There's been so many other great ones. I'm going to actually, let me see. You're putting me on the spot here to think who are some of the other really great ones. Because we're in season 3. So we've done actually like 220 episodes.
Wow.
So
there's been you can't figure them all out. Don't worry.
But what I will say is, being a podcaster has really given me the opportunity to get to know a lot of athletes more and hear their stories. And, it's not just about putting out content, but I get so much from the conversations as well. And I believe that every interaction we have with somebody is an opportunity to learn and to grow, whether you're doing a podcast or just having a conversation with somebody. And so I think that's another takeaway that I want people watching this to just think about is how can you learn from the people that you come into contact with, whether it's someone you're working with on a day-to-day basis, or it's someone that you just happen to come across and have a short conversation or do a virtual coffee because you're networking or whatever. And there's so many ways to just connect with great people today. So make sure you're taking advantage of those opportunities and using them to learn and grow.
Absolutely. I know one of the things that, well, I don't want to give this because you might give this. So never mind. I was going to say one of the quotes that I love that you gave is ... but I'm not. I'm going to let you give your quote or tagline, and then I'm going to give one of my favorites from you if you don't get that.
Okay. So at the end of every episode, I always say, until next time, make sure that you suit up, you show up, and you move the ball. And
that was mine.
Yes. And so the reason why that's important, because it's all about how you suit up, your mindset, the preparation that you take into the day. And then it's again, how you show up and what you do each day. And if you suit up and show up the right way to life, then you will move the ball. And so talking about this book that's coming out that has no title yet, that book is structured in those 3 parts. So there's a section all about suiting up, then showing up, and then how to move the ball.
Oh, that's actually really smart. You are awesome. You are awesome. And thank you so much.
Can I share a story about being fierce or just putting yourself out there? Because I'm hoping this will help inspire people. So I recently on the podcast had a woman by the name of Gina Rivera on the show. Gina has nothing, she's not involved in sports at all. She was a CEO that was featured on Undercover Boss. And I've had another Undercover Boss on the show before, but basically I was at my mom's house. She was watching the show, and Gina had talked about her mom and how her mom had passed away and how that impacted her. And having lost my dad a few years back, like I resonated with hearing that conversation. And I thought to myself, you know what? I want to have her on my show. I want to see if she'd be willing to come on. So did I know her? Of course not. So I thought, okay, well, how can I connect to her? Social media is great. You can reach practically anybody. So I went on LinkedIn, She wasn't on there, but I found somebody else that worked for the company, and I reached out and I said, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. Could you find me the point of contact so I could see if Gina would come on my show? I mean, that woman was great. She not only gave me the name of the person, she reached out to them for me, gave them my contact info. They reached out to me before I could send a note to them. And so in the period of a week from when I saw that Undercover Boss episode to it was a week, we recorded a week later.
Are you serious?
And so like, that's what being fierce is all about. It's about taking the shot, right? Like, is everybody going to respond to you? No, right? When I reach out to people about coming on my show, do more pro athletes say no than say yes? Absolutely. But it's about, you miss the famous saying, right? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Right. So you got to take the shot. You got to be fierce and go after it. And you don't know which ones are going to stick. So you just have to, again, go take the shot, take the chance and see what happens.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you said that, because again, you just pumped me up, which is exactly like you said, why I bring people on. I mean, obviously I could do all these things and sit here and talk to myself for 10 minutes and hope that 3 people on the other side are listening to me talk about all these affirmations. But again, I learn more from people, and that's why I want people with different stories, perspectives, backgrounds, experiences, knowledge to come on and talk about stuff and show how amazing you all are and the wonderful things you're doing in your life, and then allow you to inspire others through your stories and your words. So is there anything else awesome that you want to share with us? Because girl, you got so much.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I guess it just comes down to having confidence in yourself, right? As part of being fierce, having that courage to put yourself out there. And something you mentioned, you said that I find like I'm able to find myself into any space, right? And it's really about having confidence in yourself. And I remember, I don't know if you knew this, you probably did, but like when I wrote Move the Ball, I didn't know anybody that played professional sports. I didn't grow up in a football family. I knew nobody. And when I first published, I was like, okay, yeah, I want to like do something in sports. And so there I was, ambitious me, every time I had an opportunity, I physically showed up to an event and tried to like, hey, I wrote this book, and nobody cared. In sports, no one really cared, because as a woman, it's tough to say, hey, I'm an expert, or I should be someone that's an authority on this space. Like, you just don't get taken seriously. And I've had people tell me that they think I'm wasting my time. I've had people be like, nobody cares about what you have to say, no NFL player. And so, we all have people that don't see the worth and don't see the value. And so we just need to keep pushing, you can like, I hear you, and you're going to do it with or without them. Right. And so just remember, there are some people that are going to be on the journey with you, and there are some people that are not meant to be there, and you just got to keep doing your thing. But the other piece I wanted to mention with that is when I switched my approach and I started just being very confident, like I knew I belonged here in this space. It was just interesting to see how the conversations turned and people started to listen, especially when it comes to sports, because they're getting hit up all the time. And so for me, it was like, hey, this is what I do. Like, I didn't chase. When you stop chasing people and you just know your worth, right? Then you're going to attract the right people that are meant to be with you.
Oh my gosh, you're amazing, Jennifer. Thank you so much. Like, you are so amazing. I can sit here and just talk to you on or off camera, doesn't matter, forever. But I know that we got through this without the babies coming and your mom coming over, which we were hoping that we were able to do. So
yes,
before they come, I will let you go. But I do want to say, I had this book we discussed before we started recording, since June 29th of 2018, everybody. I had her give me this book when we had this event, right? And we just realized that this day was actually her freaking birthday 4 years ago. So Jennifer just celebrated her birthday. I would say yesterday, which it was, but when this, airs, it won't have been yesterday. But I'm sure you had an amazing time celebrating it. I hope you did. And I hope that you continue to celebrate it tonight and have a whole birthday 4-day.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Me too. And I appreciate you. And thank you so, so, so much. Like, you have no idea how thrilled I am to have you here. I know you're a busy woman, a fierce woman, doing all kinds of big things. And thank you for just blessing me with your presence.
Of course, it's my pleasure anytime. I think what you're doing is fantastic. And again, I appreciate you including me and having me be a part of it.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Bye. Enjoy. Bye. Okay.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another affirmation conversation. It is always so humbling to me when I can see that you guys are watching. And I don't care, that I don't know who you are. I don't care that I can't really see you when you're watching. I know that you're there. But even if it's just one person here, two people there, it makes me feel really good to know that I am making a difference in at least one person's life. And hopefully you are sharing things that you hear in the videos with the people that you know and love. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with Jennifer. And as such, as always, I'm bringing you my final thoughts. No matter what it is that you're chasing, remember you deserve to live the life that you want. But you will not get as far in life as you want if you're not relentless in your determination. And as Jennifer would tell you, you have to suit up, show up, and move the ball. You have to keep pushing. You have to keep challenging yourself and keep trying to make those big plays happen. You must trust the process. You are fierce. So be confident. Don't give up, and hell, fake it till you make it. But make it. You got this. You got this. Whatever this is.